Hello and welcome to Renew, the show about the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University. The College of Forest Resources promotes and enables the conservation, management, and wise use of our natural resources. I'm your host, Leslie Berger. Today's show will feature the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Aquaculture, one of the 3 units within the College of Forest Resources. Here to represent that unit today is Dr. Marcus Lashley, Assistant Professor. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You have been on the faculty at Mississippi State in the department for about 3 years. How would you describe your program there in the department?
Oh, that's a good question. So, traditionally, I've worked with fire ecology and land use and habitat management primarily. Since I've been here, though, I've broadened quite a bit, which I think we'll get into some of the ways that I've broadened that program today. But I still have a keen interest in fire ecology and habitat management, but I've also started thinking about animals as part of the disturbance and, trying to think about how management is dependent on how wildlife interact with our management, which makes it more complex.
Sure it does. So you use the word disturbance, and I've heard you describe yourself as a disturbance ecologist. But for many people, that idea of disturbance has negative connotations.
Yeah.
I don't like disturbance in my life. I like things to stay stable. So what is the value of disturbance from an ecological perspective?
Oh, that's a great question. Most of our plant communities, especially in Mississippi, are disturbance-maintained plant communities. So let's think about the Black Prairie, for instance. Historically, the Black Prairie would not have existed without recurring fire and a large herbivore that followed fire, which is pretty interesting to think about those things coupled, but really coupling fire and herbivory were necessary to promote that system. Similarly, if you look in our open pine systems of the state, fire was a big part of those systems, and in fact, we now try to manage those systems by prescribing fire. So disturbance can take many different forms, and I commonly have said that anything could be a disturbance, depending on the context. But the fact of the matter is, especially in the southeastern United States, disturbances are absolutely required to manage wildlife habitat.
Okay, well, so right now California is burning.
Yep.
And so many people will hear that idea that you just mentioned of fire in the forest, and that does not have a positive image.
Right.
So explain for a minute just what that role of fire and other disturbance is. Why is that necessary?
So what we're, one of the reasons that disturbance is negative is because all we see on the news or whatever is the catastrophic effects that it can have. And for a long time we suppressed fire in systems, and if you do that over a long period of time, you have a fuel buildup, and eventually it catches on fire, and sometimes that can be catastrophic. And particularly in the western part of the United States, where fuels don't decompose very fast, those things are exacerbated by that fuel buildup. So that's one of the reasons we would want to use fire frequently to manage these systems, is to mitigate those catastrophic fires. Now, we've certainly had some in the southeastern United States. It's not as common, but we also have a pretty strong fire culture here still, and we are using fire successfully in a lot of the systems, especially longleaf ecosystems and prairie systems.
Sure. So what of those projects that you mentioned, because you kind of highlighted a bunch of them, are you most excited about right now?
I wouldn't say that I'm most excited about one, but there is one that has struck my interest, and it was the one I was going to talk about today, primarily because it seems like it's out of left field. And that is, so basically I'm a hunter and I eat red meat, and we have a new tick-borne illness that you can get from the Lone Star tick, which is a tick that has a white spot on its back. Most people who are in the woods know about them. And the bite can actually make you allergic to red meat. that would be a catastrophic lifestyle change for me, because red meat is my primary source of protein, and my primary pastime is hunting red meat. So that'd be a real problem if I was to contract that. So we've been doing some experiments. We have this really high-tech gear like this.
Very fascinating piece of equipment you've got there.
So basically it's a piece of cardboard and it has double stick tape on it. We can actually put CO2 in the middle of it, and it attracts ticks, because that's how they seek a host. So they will try to crawl up to get to that CO2, and we catch them. And we're going to follow through and look at what factors are affecting abundance and that tick-borne allergy.
Wow, well, that's really interesting. I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about some of the research you have going on when we return after this break. We're going to visit with one of Dr. Lashley's graduate students.
Want a career as big as the outdoors? Want to have an impact on the environment? The College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University delivers hands-on training, ensuring clean air and water, wildlife habitats, and a sustainable environment. Creating new wood products and retooling old ones for today and tomorrow. Find a career in whatever path you choose. Majors in forestry, natural resource and environmental conservation, sustainable bioproducts, wildlife, fisheries, and aquaculture. Want a career as big as the outdoors? Choose the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University.
Discovery. It tells our history and determines our future. At Mississippi State University, we're digging deep, unlocking an understanding of our past, validating it. Middle East exploration by faculty and students is uncovering evidence that unravels ancient mysteries. Scholars have long thought of the biblical kings David and Solomon as mythological figures. Our research offers evidence that supports their existence, boosting MSU into an international league of experts on archaeology. Now we're changing the way people think about the past, opening up new possibilities of understanding for future generations. Digging deeper, learning more.
Hear the echo down the well where my heart once hung. Hear my name ringing, ringing when I'm done. Hear my name ringing, hear it ringing. Hear my name ringing.
Welcome back to Renew, the show about the College of Forest Resources at Mississippi State University. Joining me now from the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Aquaculture is graduate student Mariah Bogus. Thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
You came all the way from North Carolina to Mississippi State to work with Dr. Marcus Lashley, who we just met in the first segment. What are you doing with Dr. Lashley? He was telling us about disturbance ecology. I'm assuming it's related to some of that kind of work.
It is, yeah. I'm doing a little bit of everything. As Dr. Lashley talked about, doing some research with ticks. And my recent fascination, my recent time has been spent working with acorns. And,
So there's acorns in here, not ticks, right?
No ticks in there. That's actually about 2,500 acorns that I will be
gosh.
putting out for deer as part of a large project that I'm doing this fall.
Okay, tell me about that.
Yeah, so the project is actually in northern Mississippi. I have 50 trees that I've identified up there, oak trees, and I have plots set up underneath them, and then underneath half of those trees they're getting additional acorns, kind of artificial acorn addition is what I'm doing. And so I'm actually collecting acorns here in Starkville. We've been working with the folks over at Native Nurseries and using some of their equipment to pick up acorns. And as of right now, I have about 60,000, and I put them out, and so I put out, like this last Saturday, I put out 50,000 underneath the trees, and acorns actually fall in kind of a normal distribution, so it's a bell-shaped curve. You have a little bit of acorns falling off of a single tree, then
Right.
they'll peak and then it'll slowly drop off. So
Right.
we're trying to replicate that as closely as possible. So underneath each of those acorn edition trees, they got 500 acorns the first week. This last week, they all got 2,000, and then this coming weekend, they're getting another 500.
So you have to sit out there and count 1, 2, 3 to 2,000, and you put them under the tree?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
Thankfully, no. I have a little bit of an average worked out, so I've kind of counted how many are in a gallon. And if anyone is interested, there's about 500 Shumard oak acorns in a gallon.
Oh, that's good to know.
So-
I'll keep that in mind the next time I need to count my Shumard oak acorns.
Yeah, I try to kind of think of myself as the deer Santa Claus. You
Right.
know, I'm collecting food for them here, taking it up there, and I really hope they appreciate that.
I'm
so.
sure that they do, especially on days like today when it's cold and wet and rainy.
Oh, yeah.
So why are you doing that? What is the purpose or what objective are you trying to get at with that
So for
Santa Claus story?
Yeah, so it's not just to be nice to the
Yes,
deer.
right.
So actually, it kind of goes back to a problem that we've noticed across the country actually for
Mm-hmm.
decades, and that's that oak regeneration is lacking, and there's not enough young oak trees to replace
Mm-hmm.
those that are being harvested or that are just simply dying
Right.
as forest age.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're actually taking a different approach than a lot of people have, and that's looking at how the large herbivores that we have on the landscape right now, which is white-tailed deer,
Right.
at least in Mississippi, how those are interacting with the plant communities and with acorn production cycles to possibly influence oak regeneration.
Okay.
So I said I have 50 trees in these 50 plots, and actually underneath each of those I've planted 2 Shumard oak seedlings and then 2 black gum seedlings, which black gum is a pretty common competitor
Sure.
with young oak trees because they grow so quickly and they
Correct.
quickly will overtake a young oak tree. So what I'm going to do is after all of my acorns are put out, I have trail cameras similar to what I use for hunting, but these are set up for research, and they're looking across these plots, and we're going to see how many deer visit these plots, and we're going to hopefully show how much the deer visits increase with acorn addition. And then we're going to go back and we're going to do surveys of those seedlings in spring, and we're going to see how herbivory has actually hopefully increased on the black gums
Okay.
through the oak trees attracting the white-tailed deer underneath the trees.
Well, I can see that there's a lot of management implication to the study that you're doing, even though right now it seems a little obscure with your
Yeah.
bag of acorns. But I
Yeah.
look forward to hearing. That's a lot.
That's
yeah.
those are all lots of acorns there. So
It is. I imagine when you try to explain to your friends and your parents what it is that you're doing, that they might find that a little odd.
they think I'm nuts.
I'm sure that they do. Well, thank you for coming by. I enjoyed learning about your project, and I thank the rest of you for joining Renew. I hope you've learned a little bit more about the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Aquaculture at Mississippi State University. I also hope that you get the chance to go outside and enjoy the natural resources that we have in the state. Until we meet again, I've been your host, Leslie Berger.